Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again. It is Wednesday night, which is a must-see TV here on the DJNTV network. I am KC, your host and the producer of the Marquee Conference, DJ Conference, Entertainment Conference. It's kind of migrated to a bunch of stuff. But yes, technically the Marquee Entertainment and Hospitality Conference, known internationally. I don't know.
It
Maybe it might
sounded
be
like
true.
it sounded like you were going to talk about like Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle and Shoe Repair. Like it just kept
Ooh,
going.
that would be good.
It
Shoe
does.
repair. Get your shoes repaired. Does anyone repair shoes anymore? I see it on like TikTok videos and they make it look easy, but I can't imagine it being the case. But you spend $300 on a pair of Air Jordans, you want them to last forever. So anyhow, tonight I'm excited. We have the one, the only, the Matt Radicelli from the beautiful state of Cleveland, Ohio, which was just ranked one of the most dangerous cities in the country. I just actually was on the news this morning. Congratulations.
It is
I'm
just below Chicago, my
It's
friend. Just
not.
below Chicago.
Chicago didn't even make the top 10. I was shocked. Shocked. I could not believe it. That's even everybody on the air today was like, how do we not? That's all we hear about. So we're slacking. I'm telling you. I mean, not good.
Well, the
Need to have some
lobbyists
riots.
lobbyists are doing their job then, my friend. Lobbyists are
I
doing their jobs.
I guess so. So we are excited because Matt is going to be with us at Marquee in a major way. He's kicking off the show, and then he's also going to be doing not one, not two, but three kind of mini seminars. I won't call them TED Talks because I think they're longer than TED Talks, but they're not the full 50 minutes. So it's just one giant Radicelli teaser to get you all excited. And he does that so that you'll buy him dinner each night. And that's how he comes to the show economically. The man is a genius. So, with that, let's get into Matt. For those people that don't know you, let's kind of get into like kind of who you are, how you started, and go from there.
Well, I don't know where I can go from. The only reason I'm doing this is to get free dinner. I don't know, man.
Works for me.
It's quite the launch pad.
Truth hurts, my friend. Truth hurts.
I don't know. For those that don't know me, okay, I'm a DJ, right? So started a long time ago, and DJing was a passion, something my dad taught me a long time ago, and I ended up in lots of scenarios, like a lot of us do. We cut our teeth. I was at a bowling alley and did a lot of stuff in my teen years after being brought up in a nightclub between my mom and my dad, and started a thing. It became good sized. I want to sort of fast forward past this part, but I'll answer whatever you want, Case. But started a bar mitzvah company that grew into an audiovisual thing and got pretty sizable. And I had the opportunity to sell it to a really good friend and a partner in the business. But I'm a DJ second, I think, business and entrepreneur first. But I love performing. Music's always been a huge part of my life, and just trying to do good things for good people, and had a chance to mix those two things for most of my life. Exited the largest business that I had, which was really the culmination of a few businesses that got purchased and then assembled into one group. 2019 was when I sold right before the pandemic, and then I was fully exited. I'm still 1% partner, but in Rock the House Entertainment in Cleveland, fully exited 2021-ish. Besides that
Does Rock the
1%.
House still do a lot of mitzvahs, or are they
Yeah.
kind of shit? Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, forgive me, I might be way off. Have you also done uh uh did you buy another DJ company that specialized in school dances too, or did that kind of fizzle?
No, it didn't fizzle, but it did get shut down in the middle of the pandemic, during
Okay.
during the spin down. So in 2010, the first acquisition happened. In 2013, the one that you're referring to was Zone Entertainment. Jeff Dick, awesome dude. Jeff Dick was the owner and the founder of Zone Entertainment. That got folded into the family of companies, and they were a mitzvah company. They did lots of school dances and lots of activations. So it was more like an adolescent entertainment company overall.
Okay.
But it was a large part of Rock the House for a long time. It just happened to be that in the middle of the pandemic, everybody needed to right size what was
Right.
happening. So because Rock the House also did many of those things at a different level, Rock the House shut down the Zone brand, and then just enveloped all of those customers. Yeah.
Okay. And so does Zone still exist or is it completely gone?
It's gone essentially. The website is still active and the phone number still works, but as far as I know, you're being directed to a Rock the House sales rep, from what I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Very good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So you built this big company, you sold it, and then you started creating this new entity called MentorPods. So tell people what MentorPods is and why you felt the need to start it.
The 20 years that Rock the House existed, before the sale, it was like the master's degree that I never got because I didn't go to school in learning how to manage people, mentor people, grow people, and learn how to run a business. So I'm the guy that I'm not a theory guy. It's not me talking about what I think you should do or what I think happens in business. It's real life experience from what I've experienced and then working with others. So in the middle of things when I started to have kids, and we have 4 kids. I currently have 19, 18, 14, and 13. I've got 4 kids. And right around the time that they were all sort of out of the kindergarten phase, I had a day off of the week and I started coaching people because I would go speak at conferences and I would get
Right.
asked, "Hey, do you want to, can you work with me? Do you do one-on-one coaching? How can I help?" And talk to some other people in the industry. And I said, yes, I do. And I started doing it. I really loved it. It became one of my favorite days of the week. So
Okay.
to tie this together, I knew that I had a little something to give and something to offer that was giving people value. And it wasn't even something that was a major part of a revenue stream. It wasn't a business yet. It was something I enjoyed doing, make a little scratch on the side. So when the opportunity to sell Rock the House came on board or came around, and then I was dreaming up ideas in the middle of a pandemic and afterwards, after the second part of the sale, I wanted to lean into the thing that I love doing the most, which is I really, really love to help people. I love listening to people, and like you're a master marketer. I know that of you, and you understand business very well. And you also love to give people your opinion. Let's just be honest, right?
I
Wouldn't it
can't
be?
help it if wouldn't you want my opinion? And when I'm right all the time, who wouldn't want to take my advice?
See,
Duh.
we both call it like we see it. I
Uh-huh.
I just believe that in that moment I decided to do a thing where I could leverage my time and my expertise. Oh, and by the way, I'm just gonna go off script here a little bit. I don't usually say this like this so often. I really didn't at the time want to start a business that had a lot of employees or
Okay.
had assets or was going to have or be carrying a lot of liabilities. So I wanted to build something where I could help large numbers of people at once. And that's how
Right.
MentorPods was born. So what is it? MentorPods is a group coaching program at its heart. And we take groups of businesses, roughly 24 businesses. Every 6 months, we start a new cohort, a new pod. Okay.
Okay.
And we teach them business lessons all year long, and we hold their
And
hand throughout the
let's
entire
back up. So
process.
a pod
Yeah.
is like a group of 5 people, 10 people in on like weekly are they on weekly Zoom calls? Is it like a private group page? Let's elaborate for people who have no idea what you're talking about.
24 people in every
Okay.
class, in every pod, every class.
Got it.
The next pod starts in July, for instance. We have a pod that usually starts in January and one that starts in July.
Okay.
That group of people stays together for an entire year, and it's a weekly Zoom call. And there's 2 parts to the call. The first part is Q&A, where you can ask anything. You can talk about challenges. You can talk about opportunities. And then the second part is we teach you a lesson. So one week it might be how to get more leads. The next week it's how to close more sales and how to improve your sales process. The next week it's maybe how to read your financial statements and understand how to get money from a bank. So every single week we teach them something very relevant, and we're responding specifically to what they need, Casey. So like they get to ask us questions, and that influences which lessons we do next, week after week.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
but it's all the other things you mentioned too. Private Facebook page. They have access to all of our instructors if they want to do like a 15-minute Zoom call. There's no like paywall or guardrails. Like we're just a part of your team for a whole year.
Gotcha. Um, okay. So how would it go or how does it, so somebody's interested in step one from now until July, what would happen? What's the process?
Well, the first thing is to find out whether it's right for you. I would say
Sure.
Mentor Pods isn't for everyone. Who is it for? It's for people that love to learn, are interested in their business, you're either already the best. So if you're already the best at what you do, you're a prime candidate because that means you're an overachiever and you want to push the limits. If you want to be the best and you know that there are people in the industry that you look up to and you want a sort of a taste of the lightning in a bottle that they've experienced, sometimes the key to that is just understanding how business works. Because you might be good at that thing you do. You might be a great photo booth operator. You might be a great DJ. You might be great at the minimal AV that you've just started to learn how to do. But the real way to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success later is understanding business and to know that you're doing all the same things that you need to consistently throughout that. So what does it look like from now until July? You set up a quick call with me. We have a brief discussion about your business and we see if you qualify, see if you're a good fit. And if you're not a good fit, I'll tell you flat out. But you probably are if you want to learn, enjoy learning, invest in yourself. Everybody who comes to Marquee is a good fit. Okay. Unless their business isn't necessarily right-sized for what it needs to be. But man, we just need to make sure that you understand what you're getting into and you're going to make a commitment. And you have to put in the work, people. You got to like anything else. You got to put in the work. I'm not going to be on any podcast or talk to you and be like, oh my gosh, it's we guarantee results and you don't have to do anything and just come hang out with us and you're going to make $1 million.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I said it before. Our friend Mars was in today and he and I were talking and I said, listen, I'm no genius by any means. I just happen to be the guy who just is willing to do stuff. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, as for those of you who don't know, I started a group called DJ Think Tank. I'm not smarter than anybody else in there. In fact, I'm far less intelligent than most of the people in there. I just happened to be the guy who was like, all right, let's do it. I'm cool. Let's do this. This works. And that was it. I got everyone together to come to Chicago, and that was 1 million years ago now. And so that's that. And the nice part is it's inspired other people to also start their own groups, which is fantastic. So I said it last night at the Chicago Disc Jockey Network meeting. In life, you're either growing or you're dying. I mean, and that's just it. Okay. So you have to decide what's best for you, but it's either you're growing or you're dying, and there is no in between. And you think about it, every nightclub, every team, every fraternity at some point in time has growth spurts. And then when all of a sudden that restaurant went away or whatever it is, everyone goes, what happened? Well, they didn't continue to grow and learn and everything else. Same thing as there's statistics that show the most successful people in the world, in whatever they're in, they're the ones who tend to have continued education all of the time, and they just keep reading books and listening to podcasts and doing that, and then others just don't. So that's that.
That's it. I mean, everybody needs a coach, and I honestly thought when we were talking about jumping on today, I didn't know it was going to be a Mentor Pods commercial. I want to talk about the company all day long, but it's about education. I'm saying that it just happens to be the same thing that you and I agree on, is that everybody needs education, and
100%.
All the people that I know that are know-it-alls or have sort of decided that they know the thing that they need to know, they're the ones that have plateaued. Or never achieved the potential. You and I have met a lot of people, and I'm not going to name any names.
Sure.
Where, you meet them 10, 15 years, and you're like, damn, this guy is going places, or she is on her way, and all of a sudden, boop, flatline.
Yeah. Sadly, they implode.
It's no coincidence if those individuals aren't pushing. But yeah, man.
And I've imploded. I've had to reinvent myself a few different times. So I mean, it just is part of life. It's not 80 degrees and sunny every day of the week. So and that's part of it. It's what's the old adage? It's life is what happens in between your plans, or whatever, however that phrase goes. So I mean, that's just the way that it is. So now we know your background, we know your passion, we know what Mentor Pods is. So tell us, at Marquee, you're going to be kicking it off. You're kind of other than me doing housekeeping in the beginning and giving away an award, you're kicking it off. So what would people be expecting to hear from you? Kind of walk us through what you got planned for the attendees, and maybe why someone watching this might want to attend.
Okay, well, Marquee's a great show. I think that you've always put together a nice set for education. This year, you and I had a chat, right around the same time that Justin released his video about how the industry currently looks at education. in terms of
Right.
what's out there. And I try to participate as best I can with the conferences that I speak at. I try to have in-depth conversations with those that are putting together the agendas and to talk about what are the pieces in the agenda that are missing. And that's kind of what you and I talked about is what can
Sure.
we do in order to fill the gaps in the agenda to make sure that sales and marketing and operations and financials and all the things are covered. So I came up with this idea and pitched it to you, and we were talking about the educational kit, which was for us to do these mini lessons and not to capitalize or monopolize rather on the time for what's happening, but to give you a little taste of these things. So I think you did then. You took that idea and built a great agenda every
Yeah.
single day that takes you on this journey. And
Right.
I think you haven't been apologetic at all. You're like, you should come to my show and come to Marquee if you want to improve your business.
That's it.
Like that's
And then
that's it this year, right?
yeah, we don't have one seminar on DJing or on lighting or on sound or on anything. Even QSC, who's our main sponsor, I had a meeting with them yesterday. Their hour-long thing, their intention as of yesterday isn't to talk about their speakers or sound or how to get the best out of your sound system. They want to bring up a bunch of successful DJs to kind of do a life's lessons. So even QSC is determined to give our attendees all of the tools necessary to grow. DJing is an art and it's subjective, and it's like anything. You can look at a Philly cheesesteak and go, "Oh my God," and I can go, "That's disgusting." And one's not right or one's not wrong. And so the art of DJing, I think, will always be subjective. Like some DJs can't stand playing the chicken dance. Others want the flower girl to be on the chair or on the little stage and make it a big moment. And again, it's just, you like chocolate and I like vanilla or whatever. But one thing that doesn't change is sales, marketing, networking, all of that. Those are black and whites. You either are pushing the right button to get the phone to ring or to close the deal or whatever it is. And so when I asked people, similarly, kind of what Justin said, when I asked people, what are your biggest business challenges now? Everybody was on the business side. And maybe it's ego because I've never met a DJ who doesn't think that they're great at what they do.
Mhm.
So let's just assume everyone coming to Marquee is a fantastic DJ. So let's focus on the part of their business that they're struggling with, which is the business side of it. And as an entrepreneur, you weren't in kindergarten going, someday I hope I can be a DJ. I mean, this is something we fall into because we love entertaining, we love people, we love music, and it kind of it finds us more than we go out and find it. And then all of a sudden we have this monkey on our back known as, okay, I really want to do this and make a living. How do I do this? And kind of go from there. Some people want to be all artistic and just have themselves and they don't want to manage people. Other people like you and I are cool having a gazillion people work for us, or you did in the past, and you've made it clear that you're on a different path now. So that's all.
Yeah, we'll get back to it, but
Yeah.
the path that you're creating though is awesome in that you're making a very bold statement to the industry with this year's agenda. And
Yep.
I was talking to somebody today in Mentor Pods. We were talking about the Marquee agenda, and the statement that she made was that she thought that she could have the conversations for all the things that happen in other shows that have to do with some performance items and some things about the basics of some of the other things. And I'm not trying to call anybody out. Like
No.
I love my fellow presenters, but what she said was those are the conversations I have at lunch and at breakfast and at night. And when I meet somebody, we talk about these things. But what I can't get is the education for the other items. I can't
Right.
get that without paying, for direct access to those individuals after the fact, unless you join a
Right.
program, right? And I'm not saying people shouldn't do that. But anyways,
No, I get it.
day one, what we're going to do is we're going to kick off the show in a way that it's not supposed to be a hype presentation. It's not supposed to be jump up and down, rah, rah. It's not going to be Tony Robbins. It's really just how do you get the most out of the show? So we're going to review the agenda, and then we're going to talk about some business basics in terms of setting goals and projections for yourself. And it's very easy. It's very easy to understand, very easy to implement. That's going to be the first part of day one. So you're going to do a bunch of other awesome presentations in the middle of that. And then later on today, I'm going to come back and we're going to do a very, very simple psychology and a little bit of business mixed together about say this, not that. We're going to talk about how words matter. And when you think about Chick-fil-A, right, you think about instead of people saying, you're welcome, everybody says my pleasure. That's a very, very famous example. There
Or
are so
how may
many.
I serve you? That's one of the big things that they say too.
That's
Instead
right.
of
And
can I take your order? Yeah.
Exactly. All these little things. So what I want to do is put people in the mindset when they step into that session that if the customer is neutral when they come and talk to you in the first little bit, you essentially can say certain words that lose you the sale before you even ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to understand that if you can just keep moving that needle and notching it closer and closer and closer to the yes, you just really increase increase your game. And there's also things about how to manage and serve your people better, how to best serve your family and friends. So we're talking about all these things. It's a rapid fire lesson about if before you say this thing or this phrase, replace it with this one instead. And it's a
Right.
great little mini lesson. The next day, okay, we're going to be talking about pure profit on every job. Okay, every business's Achilles heel is the fact that they think they know what they need to sell and where their prices need to be at in order to make a profit at the end of the year. And then at the end of the year, they wake up not really understanding what happens with taxes and the other expenses. But that aside, we're talking about job costing at its basis. We need to
Sure.
understand that when you sell a job, any job, every job, everything you do, your job is to understand exactly what your costs are going to be for that job, to know what this number is called gross margin, and then to project and predict what it's going to be for the year so that you don't wake up at the end of the year and go, where'd all my money go? I actually
Right.
want you to begin with the end in mind. It's sort of like when you hear people talk about profit first, but it's
Mm-hmm.
different. We're talking about job costing when that, and that's going to be a tight little lesson. Again, all these lessons are less than 30 minutes, quick hitters, get in, get out. And then the last day, we're going to be talking about staying booked year round. One of the biggest things we hear is about the seasonality being basically an emotional killer, a bank account killer, all these different things. We're going to talk about how to analyze your year and what you need to do at certain parts of the year to keep yourself booked more often and how to book more in your busy season, because that's when the squirrel stuffs away the nuts and saves them for
Right.
winter. We need to make as much money as we can in the peak season, but it doesn't mean we need to turn our backs and give up in the off season. No way.
Right.
All right. So that's sort of like the little preview of, we wanted to give you a little taste of all the different areas of business, right? And I actually I didn't say that out loud, but that one of those was sales, one of them was marketing. We're talking about other, and yeah. So that's the journey, and I think that you did a great job of making these things fit in the rest of the agenda for the week, which is fantastic.
Well, and I'll tell you, I mean, the proof's going to be in the pudding, and everybody's looking for something different. But this is, I don't know, my seventh or eighth year, and prior to
Mhm.
that, I programmed think tank, and I've been active with an ADJ chapter and such. And so I think I've got a pretty good idea of what people are facing all the time and such, and especially with the uncertainty of the economy, without getting into politics or or just the amount, the saturation point of people within our industry, as well as the reduction of weddings. People are saying the same thing. I want more work. I want more work. I
Yeah.
want to get more guys. I want to grow my business. I want to learn how to charge more. I want to make more money. And that's it. And I don't care if you're a part-time DJ just doing this for the love of it. There's nothing better than having the love of it and being paid well for it. You can do both. There's no reason that you can't. Because even if you're just doing it as a hobbyist,
Mhm.
my goal is to give you the sales tools to make closing those sales easier, marketing to fill the calendar on a part-time level to where you want it to be. Maybe on a part-time level, making sure that if you're fighting for that job, that you are as well represented as some of the other full-time DJs. So I'm going to give you the tools to succeed, and then from there, think of it like being a personal trainer. After that, you're the one who's got to do the sit-ups. You're the one who's got to eat right. You're the one who's got to go to sleep and get the right amount of sleep, and that's it. And that's my goal. So, and quite frankly, it's as if anyone who knows me, it's been one of my goals for years. I mean, I'm inspired by DJ shows. In November of 1989, I had gone to the company I was working for. And I think I've told you the story before, and I've said it a lot. I figured out what my Ford Escort payment was. Okay. And I had just gotten a 1989 Ford Escort. I knew what my payment was, insurance, everything else. I said to him, I really want to DJ for a living. I need $17,000. And he goes, oh, I can't pay that. And I'm like, but I'll DJ. That's everything. That's all in. I just need to cover my bills. $17,000 a year and I'll be your slave. And he goes, yeah, I can't do that. And it was at that moment where I started going, I got to get out of here. And I went to my first DJ expo ever, put on by an AV DJ supply store. And what was funny is Robert Lindquist reviewed that show in the very first issue of Mobile Beat magazine. And on February 1st, 1990, I gave my 2-week notice. And I had spent whatever it was, 6 months, 5 months planning my exit, buying records at used record stores and mimicking the collection the company had for me. And February 1st was my very, like, I gave my notice. And I'm still friends with the guy I did it to. Every February 1st, I call him and I wish him a happy quitiversary. And every year he tells me to go F myself as a joke. But yeah, I mean, he's still one of my closest friends, whatever, 35, 45, whatever, 35 years later. So that was that. But, and so I believe in the shows. I believe in people getting together. And for those of you that are watching this going, yeah, but podcasts and YouTube and you know, this and that, it's all great. But if you've ever gone to a live sporting event, if you've ever gone to a live concert, you understand the difference when you submerge yourself into the experience. And even if you are a local Chicago DJ, okay, and people who saw me last night at the Chicago Disc Jockey Meetup knows it. There's something magical about being in a room or a hotel filled with people that do what you do, that face the same struggles, you know, maybe to not the same degree. You might be shyer, you might be more outgoing, they might be better mixers, doesn't matter. Everybody has their thing. But when you put yourself in that environment, you just can't help but be better. I mean, you're going to feed on it. You're going to love it. And so I'm a big fan, whether that is, whether that is, my show, another show, geographically more desirable, better time of year. I get it. My show's in June and that's a tough thing, but if you do enough planning, it's fine. And for everyone who always tells me, well, it's in the middle of wedding season, I always say, if you won a trip to Hawaii and you had to go the same week, would you tell the person you won the trip, no, I can't do it, I have a wedding that weekend? Or would you rearrange your life for it? And they go, well, that's different. I go, no, it's not. It's just your priorities would be different. So Marquee will not be like a Hawaiian vacation, but, it's like anything. I said it last night. The most successful people in the world are willing to do the things that unsuccessful people are not. And that's just it. So, yeah, Eva actually said we missed yesterday, had a family visiting, hope to catch the next meetup. So, which for those of you in Chicago, the next meetup will be May 27th, featuring Chauvet Lighting right here. And it's being hosted by a fellow Chicago DJ in their 10,000 square foot building. So we're super excited. My little catering entity is going to be doing tacos, and it's going to be Taco Tuesday, literally. So we're super pumped. But continuing, since you deal with business owners, you tell me so that people feel comfortable as they're watching. I'm hoping that everybody from this gets, oh my God, they get it. What would you say 2025, let's do like the top 3 things that you're finding, in mentor pods that most people are saying, these are my 3 biggest challenges in 2025.
Okay. Off the cuff.
Yeah.
Complaining in general about lead gen and discovering that the problem that somebody has maybe isn't lead gen, and it has to do with their commitment to what's happening with their sales process and their closing process and like their follow-up process. That's the number one thing that people
so you're
ask
saying
about.
they're getting the leads or access to them, they're just not converting.
Yeah, it's fair if we zoom out and look at everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, if I only had more leads, everything would be fine.
Right.
And I don't disagree with you, because the more that you can pump in and keep hitting the jumper cables for whatever it is, you can make any business function if you give it as many leads as you can.
Sure.
But the health and wellness of a business has to do with what you feed it, not how often you can hit it with jumper cables. So the idea of saying, hey, maybe it's not the leads. Maybe you just need to be actually better at sales. Maybe
Right.
you need to be better. And I hate to put this giant asterisk on it, but at the end of every lesson we talk about this, I have to put this disclaimer at the end case and say,
Yeah.
I also need you to make sure that you actually don't suck and
Sure.
and you're actually good at what you do, because part of it could be you might be 5 degrees off and just slightly less professional than you need to be for the planners and the professionals and the vendors to recommend you because you're
Yeah.
just not polished yet. Or maybe you're a jerk or like something like these are little things that I get real about with people in the program and say, maybe it's not the leads, maybe it's not the lead gen. What if your closure rate just isn't even close to industry average about what
And
it's going to be?
and some of it could honestly be people's sense of value is just not accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, we all look in the mirror and we see something different than what somebody else sees.
Yeah.
Some of it could be positive, some of it could be negative, but it's like the old joke that you see like Al Bundy sucking his gut in and flexing and everything else. And, and I think I say that satirically, but it's also true. What you
Yeah.
see, and I forgot who it was, where I was. The difference between what a lot of people misunderstand is, for example, when it comes to brand and branding, and I thought this was a great quote, and I forgot where I saw it, but I saw it at a seminar. What we do as business owners is branding. Okay. We make clothing with our name on it, and we make business cards and we post on social media. Our brand, however, is the way that people perceive who we are.
Mhm.
Okay.
Correct.
And a
Yep.
lot of people don't understand it. Just because you think you're fantastic doesn't mean that you are. And I know I've had some really amazing talent work for me where I've said, just don't talk to anyone. Just go in, like do your thing, and please just mind your business. Okay. And that's all there's to it. And you're talking, I mean, you know me, I'm a loud, brash, outspoken person.
You are?
So it's true. If you don't like it, go F yourself. No,
Part
I
two.
mean, yeah,
Part two.
yeah,
So many people are willing, at least in mentor pods, because it's a safe space to talk
sure.
about the word that nobody really wants to say, which is recession. And businesses, a lot of businesses that are young enough, they weren't around in 2008, 2009, and 10 to
Right,
understand the Great Recession. So a lot of our current activity is about understanding your recession readiness. It's sort of giving yourself a recession score of knowing how to survive and actually, literally, not to be too cliche, but thrive
right. I
in
agree.
in an economic downturn. And like I think that I had some really good mentors at the time when the recession happened, and in 8 to 10, and I grew right through it. So Rock the
Right,
House had some of its best years through that time. So the key is to understand how to make sure that you can be doing what's called laddering. Laddering is to understand that you're still going to have people that are going to get married. People are still going to have bar and bat mitzvahs. People still spend money on certain luxury products and services and certain entertainment items. Yes, it's true, guys. People spend less in a recession. They clamp down. The question is, are you going to be smart enough to get those dollars? So if your business understands laddering and you don't hold on, it's kind of like holding on to a stock that you know is a loser that's going down instead of putting a stop loss in and getting rid of it. I want you to know that I need you to be ready to fall back to certain positions so that you can sell different products and services to your same client base and keep them close to you. Because if you make it through the storm, they're going to be loyal for life for what's
right,
happening. So we both know some companies that didn't make it through the Great Recession, Casey, you
right.
and I. And
Uh-huh.
I just want to teach people how it is that they can make it really great to do business during recession activity. And we are in the middle of certain recession-based activities for many markets in the US for DJs.
Right.
It is already upon them. So
And the one
that's number
piece of
two.
advice that I found, because I had a major, if you remember, I had a falling out with a business partner
Mhm.
right in the middle of that,
Yep.
and pretty much had a midlife crisis because I turned 40 in 2009 as well, and it was a big hot mess. But the one thing that got me through all of it is whether it's you can do it financially or not, you have to keep your foot to the floor. Like there's no tomorrow. I mean, the worst thing you could do is take your foot off the gas. And that doesn't mean spending $1 million, but
Mhm.
it does mean even doing things that are that don't cost you anything. People like one-on-one contact. If you're concerned about things slowing down, guess what? So is somebody else. So if you go and you just have coffee, or you go and visit a banquet hall, hotel, or what have you, and the biggest thing is if you just offer to say, sometimes people just want to know that you care enough to offer your assistance.
Mhm.
I was on a Zoom call Monday or Tuesday with someone who we were talking about this exact thing, kind of the downturn in weddings right now and why people are slow and everything else. And I happen to share my personal insight on it. And literally 2 seconds after the call, this guy called me wanting to know if I would consider buying into his business or helping him manage it
Mhm.
because, and I'm no genius, trust me, and I told him that. And I gave him a half a dozen ideas that don't require giving up any portion of the company to me that won't cost him anything.
Yep.
But I said, have you tried this, or this? And he's like, no. I go, well, the first thing you might want to do is try this, or this. And I
Yep.
told him, I'm like, and after that, go. And I mean, this guy's spending a ton of money and he seems to have his ducks in a row and he's just, his pistons aren't all firing. So that's all there is to it. So we got a couple people on the Facebook page. Eva's here, big fan of Mentor Pods and a big fan of Marquee. My boy Rob Nickpin's on here as well. He said that Jeff Bezos is the one that said, your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. So, and something too is I think a lot of people don't get it. And that is some people don't even know what business they're in. And it's really interesting to me. And I've seen this on different TikTok videos too. And I'll ask you, Matt, we'll put you in the hot seat. What business is Amazon in?
Amazon is in the convenience business.
Exactly. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Most people be like, they're an online retailer. No, that's what they do, but they're really not in it. Okay, question number 2. What business is Costco in?
Costco is in the, geez. See, now you got me thinking all fancy and stuff.
No, it's pretty basic.
I'll let you answer that one, but I was going to say that it's still for me partially convenience, and they're in the value target center.
They're
So
in the membership business. They do $6 billion per year just in memberships.
okay, cost
So,
center. Thank you. I understand. Go ahead.
right. So,
Yep.
Rolex. What is Rolex? But what business are they in?
Put me in the hot seat. VIP luxury. Uh,
Close. You're right there. You're
yeah.
almost there.
Hmm.
They're in the prestige business. They sell prestige.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I would say that
yeah,
that's a
I
synonym.
said
Go ahead.
you're right there.
Okay.
No. So, but again, and that's why when people turn around, and Rob Nipkin said status, very similar, prestige
Yeah.
status.
Yeah. I
Same
agree with
thing.
Rob.
Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, so many people try to sell their experience and what they don't get. And I think Randy Bartlett said this, and I think it's one of the best things that was ever said, in spite of Randy saying it, um, is that people are buying their experience with you, not your experience. And that's the biggest thing. So many people are so busy trying to sell Rob Nickens, I'm the best DJ in the world because I've been DJing since 1922 and as opposed to sharing based upon what the wedding couple or the bar mitzvah family or the corporation is saying, this is what we would like to see happen. Based upon my experience, let me tell you, I think we'll do this and it'll get your crowd going crazy. And your dad loves to sing. And you all of a sudden start to paint that realistic picture, not the unrealistic one, but the realistic picture. And I think that if you spend more time giving or doing open-ended questions and creating their picture that they want, then you're going to get the job. I mean, I had one bride that told me that I was blowing her mind because of the fact I was describing everything she wanted. Well, the fact of the matter is I had asked her open-ended questions. All I was doing was repackaging what she had already told me, just in such a Hallmark styled way that I was able to paint the picture for her. And that
Let's
was it.
let's take this back to the benefit that some people are going to get from gleaning and understanding these concepts at Marquee.
Yeah.
So let's put you in the hot seat.
Okay.
What is the McDonald's Corporation what is the largest profit center of their conglomerate?
I would say the real estate, from what I understand. They're the second largest property owner in the world outside of Catholic Church being number one. So you got to give credit to God first and then Ray Kroc second, apparently.
Okay.
So,
So once we understand the economics of the fact that they understood very early on, we want to own the land, put our stuff on it, and they're paying themselves. Love that part. But
right.
once they have the building on the property, where's most of their money being made?
Um, I don't know, but I did see, well, what would I say? If I did venture a guess, the majority, I would probably say consistency and convenience is what drives their business. I also saw something once that when someone asked them what business they're in, I don't know if it was one of the Crocs, it was Ray Kroc or somebody that said they're in the happiness business. And when I heard that, I'm like, what are you talking about? And the reason that they have the Happy Meal is that they brand a positive, happy experience with their brand from childhood forward.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
this is different from the question you were asking about
yeah.
Costco and
Yeah.
about, but the other thing is
Sure.
that they actually make their money on Coke. So
Okay. I can see that.
I want
Yeah.
to bring it back to the DJ business in that there's my hypothesis, and I've talked to many people in the industry and thought leaders about it, is that it's very difficult in 2025, unlike it was 15, 20 years ago, to be really profitable as a DJ business or photo booth business operator if
Sure.
you don't understand upgrades and what
Oh,
gross
yeah.
margin is. So
Upselling.
like
Yeah.
the whole point is that we need to understand what to sell to our customers, not to oversell them shit they don't need. That's not what I mean.
Right.
We just need to understand we need to get them through the door. And for most single ops, compact multi ops, and multi ops, getting
Right.
them through the door is the DJ. Paying the bills is the DJ. Where you make the money and you start to have real profit is in the upgrades for
Right.
what is it you sell. So, guys, we're going to bring all these concepts together and we're going to borrow it. By the way, we are not teaching you anything that you can't find someplace else. There are
Right.
no new messages. We are just good
Sure.
messengers, right?
Right.
So let's just do it.
Well, and I'll
Kick
tell
it
you,
off.
I had something similar before I was a DJ. I used to sell paint in a paint store. And I went to the owner for a raise, and he's like, "Well, yeah, you're experienced and the customers like you, but I can't really give you a raise." And I'm like, "Give me anything else that I can make money on. I don't
Yeah.
care what it is." So in the paint store industry, there's a product called sundries. Sundries are everything but paint. Okay.
Okay.
And so he said, I'll give you a 2% commission on all the sundry items that you sell. So when Matt comes in and says, "Hey, can I get a gallon of this in pink?" Like, and he hands me the chip, rather than just give you what you asked for, I would say, "Sure. While it's going to be shaking, let me ask a couple of questions." Uh, and even before that, what kind of a room is this going in? It's my daughter's bedroom. How old is she? She's 5. I'm going to recommend that you do that in a semi-gloss because it'll be real easy to wash. If she writes on the walls with crayon or whatever, it's really easy to wash off. And they're like, "Oh, that's a great idea. Thanks." Now, on that, do you have any spackle for the little nail holes? No. Let me get you. I've got a little tiny one the size of a shot glass that'll be perfect for what you need. Unless you're doing a lot of work around the house. And then I'd find out, well, in the next 6 months, we're going to be redoing all the rooms. Well, let's get you the bigger one. Do you have sandpaper? Yes or no? We've got a sanding block. I went through every step of their project. Yes, to sell them more, but at the same point in time, I was indeed serving the customer
That's
so
right.
that when they all of a sudden got done moving all of the furniture in the middle of the room and realized, oh shit, we don't have a drop cloth to cover this. Okay. I don't have spackle. And all of a sudden they find themselves using toothpaste like we used to in the dorm rooms in college and everything else. So all I did was walk them through the project, no different than a DJ walking them through. Are you going to have a ceremony? Do you need sound for it? Are you going to have somebody plug in and play music? Is someone singing? Walking through every detail rather than just selling them the Mick DJ package. All of a sudden, I actually, the managers of this store caused a huge, it's the last full-time job I ever had. They got upset. I ended up making more money than they were making because when they put everything through and they saw my check was larger than theirs, I actually got, I had to get pulled into the corporate office to talk to the owner, and they said, we can't do this. And I said, why not? They go, well, you're making more than the managers are. I go, but I'm working harder than they are. And I said, don't be mad at me for taking care of the customers. Be upset with your managers that aren't taking the, I mean, even we dealt with a ton of contractors. So we'd have big bags of what's called Durabond 45, which is like plaster. And if it was on sale, I would say, Matt, from Matt's painting service, Durabond 45s on sale, it's half off. It never goes bad. Okay. I'll put it in, I'll even carry it out to the truck for you. Okay. How many do you want? I said, it's like a 2-for-1. Okay. Okay. All of a sudden I'm carrying 3 bags of the shit out there. And again, I was selling stuff that they actually could use or need or was great, but that was it. And yeah, so I got into it with the managers and ended up, that was my last job. And then I started DJing full time, and that was the end of it.
That's great.
So yeah, but again, it's a matter of taking care of the customers, not just to take money from them, but to give them, to supply them the needs fully. Okay, I can't stand when I hear people go, well, I just had a conversation and we're going to have to wrap it up, but this one particular gentleman was telling me I got paid $1,000 on my first 360 job. I'm like, good for you. He's like 4 hours. And it was this past Sunday, on Easter Sunday. And I'm like, you did a wedding on Easter, first of all. I'm like, whoa. And I go, and 4 hours on a Sunday night? He goes, yeah. He goes, the best part is they didn't even come into the room for an hour and a half. And all of a sudden I said to this gentleman, you realize even if they loved you, when they do the economics in their head, they're going to think you screwed them. Like you didn't serve your customer by walking them through the event and finding out what was in their best interest, you know? And so you may have made an extra $250, but when they realize that they overpaid, they're not going to refer you to any of their friends. So it probably cost you more money in the long run, you know, and that was that. And he disagreed. He said, well, I just do what I'm told. And I go, and therein lies the problem. So I believe the customer's always right until the customer's wrong. And it's our job to educate them so that they make the best decision for their career, for their job, for their what have you. So that's that. Anyhow, it is 8:45, and John's got to wrap it up so that he can watch Law and Order Criminal Victims Unit or whatever it is tonight. And that's that. So, Matt, thank you very much for coming on. Matt's going to be actually in Milwaukee next week at the Midwest DJs live show. And is there still room for the Mentorpods dinner if anyone's there, or are you sold out?
Yeah, no, there's 2 things happening. So Sunday from 1 to 5 p.m., we're doing a recession readiness workshop. If you're in town early, great thing to be. You can just hit the Midwest DJs Live website. There's links on it. And yes, there's still availability for the Mentorpods meetup. It's the official dinner Monday nights. We'd love to have anybody who wants to come out, whether you're in Mentorpods or not. Everyone is welcome. Again, there's a link on MidwestDJsLive.com.
Yeah. And I will be up there for dinner on Monday night, as well as our friend Marcellus told me he's RSVP'd as well. So looking forward to it. And, you know, the best part of Milwaukee is leaving it. So, yes, you'll get in and you'll get out and you'll shower it off of you. And it'll just make you appreciate living in Cleveland, the crime capital of the world, that much more. America's most dangerous city. So, no, but I will see you next week. Everyone else, there's another DJ show, June 23rd through the 26th in the Midwest, known as the Marquee Show. Super excited to host all of you. Everything you want to know about us is at marqueeshow.com. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for everybody watching, and we will see you all soon. Good night, everybody.